The June issue of Down East magazine is now out. It has a cover that will grab your attention. We're going to talk about that cover story and more with Editor-in-Chief Will Grunwald. Thanks for coming in. Good to see you, Will.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We'll get to the art story in just a moment, but let's begin with a look at a restaurant in South Berwick called Lee Frank's, which is an unusual kind of operation.
Yeah, no, it really is. So the namesake owner, Lee Frank, is a pretty highly acclaimed chef. He's been a James Beard Award semifinalist a couple of times for his upscale restaurant in New Hampshire. He's opening a new place in Maine that's also going to be kind of fancy, but we're interested not in that. This is
and what he's doing is real classic comfort food. I mean, hamburgers and hot dogs and that kind of thing, right? But with it done exquisitely.
Yeah, no, it's sort of an homage. He grew up in Southern California and loved the kind of burger shack scene out there, and he so yeah, no, exactly. It's burgers, dog shakes, onion rings, and all done to perfection. Quick service. It's a pretty ideal summer food kind of place.
What is not to like there? All right, let's move on to the cover story, which looks at a wave of new artists in Maine. What were you trying to do with this piece?
Yeah. So, you know, Maine obviously has this like really rich, vast history of great artists here, and when you look at the canon, the list of people on it is. It skews sort of older. Probably the vast majority of them aren't alive anymore.
Right.
And it occurred to us to poll curators from museums around the state about who's maybe going to be in the next wave of great Maine artists who we're going to be hearing about in museums for years and decades to come.
And you have short profiles of a number of these rising artists. Let's just mention a couple of them. One of them is Jay Stern, whose work to me looks really cool.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I really like Jay's work, and he paints landscapes and sort of intersections of landscapes and built spaces with these like sort of patchwork blocks of color that flow across the canvas. They're beautiful, and they're sort of familiar scenes done in a very distinctive way.
Done in an original way, and he lives on the mid-coast. An artist from Portland, and I hope I'm saying her name right, Sasha Brownig, maybe it's Brownig. In any case, she works with different materials and is producing some really creative work.
Yeah. Sasha's stuff is, I mean, compared to Jay's, for instance, sort of radically different, right? If you could have opposites in painting, they're sort of it. So her work is sort of abstract, high gloss. It often works with like fragments of the human form in ways that I think she's playing with like themes of feminism and constraint and representation. And with this sort of like in the surreal framework almost. They're really interesting to check out.
It's interesting to see what all of these artists who have very different approaches to their work, what they are turning out. Let's end with a photo gallery from Ben Williamson, who's been contributing to Down East for a long time, a hugely talented photographer, and you said, what do you got from Down East? Not the magazine, but from that part of the state, Washington County.
Exactly. So Ben had mentioned that he's been spending a lot of time lately as far down east as you can get basically without hitting Canada, and we're talking like Cutler to Lebec, Bold Coast area, and he's largely been going out there, or in large part, to photograph puffins on Machias Seal Island, which is one of the few nesting colonies off the coast of Maine. But he, along the way, spends a lot of time on the mainland coast exploring, and has really just kind of been smitten by the region. And I'd say this photo essay is sort of his visual love letter to that part of Maine.
And I'm in awe of anyone who can get great shots of puffins. Obviously, he's a professional, got a tremendous eye, has all the gear. But the one time I was on a puffin cruise with my phone trying to take pictures, it didn't come out so well. Those puffins are not easy to capture.
They're wobbly critters. Yeah, he said it took a while to get the hang of it. So
it's a great piece in any case. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah,
Again, all of that and more is in the June issue of Down East, which is on sale now. Stick around. 207 is going to return right after this.